and guns have been hit! Sir, we can't compete with their airships in terrain like this! Oxens might be powerful, but they're still tanks!
We don't have to, just focus on defense! The others will take care of destroying them!
Are they the Empire's new weapons? How can we compete with something so mobile?
There's nothing to fear! They may be mobile, but they're a damn sight easier to handle than that purple devil of crossbells. What the? Huh? Ah! Incoming at 3 o'clock! What the hell?
Is that?
The Ashen Chevalier, the hero of the Imperial Army.
The area beyond here is Imperial territory. You have no business treading into Crossbell. That was a warning. Try to advance any farther, and I will show no mercy.
All units retreat! We're returning to the outskirts of Altair!
Wow! You're amazing! I knew you were the one who ended the Civil War, but seeing you up close, you're really something else!
Not at all. I'm still fairly inexperienced, if you ask me. Recover the wounded and any POWs and return to Tangram Gate. Just remain vigilant until the speech is over.
Yes, sir!
Yeah, that's right. All that mind-blowing ending that just happened, all those, like, incredible, no way moments, and this can't be happening, that just went one after the other, just bam, 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 bam. And then the ending, and it was a fake ending, because there's still more game. The first time I played this, my brain exploded. I couldn't even...
It's now March, 1205 of the Septian calendar. Over 2 months have passed since the Azure Tree vanished. So much happened during those months. President Croix was arrested, Crossbell's movement for independence was promptly declared invalid. And before anyone could process what was going on, Speaker McDowell became Mayor McDowell. The war in Erebonia came to an end sooner than anyone had anticipated, but it was quickly followed by the invasion of Crossbell. Gorelia Fortress, which once served as the only physical link between the two nations, was no more. But that proved to be little more than a temporary setback for the Imperial Army, who acted by flying hundreds of tanks over the state from a vast airship. In no time at all, Crossbell was occupied. The Calvard Republic, which had been wrapped up in its own share of chaotic internal disputes, finally reacted to Erebonia's bold invasion in turn. They began with sending its cutting-edge armored airborne divisions into Crossbell, hoping to force the Empire out of the region completely. But every attempt they made resulted in failure, as they were repelled effortlessly by one soldat after another. And today, at Orcus Tower, the new seat of Crossbell's government, the new rulers of Crossbell rose to deliver a rousing speech.
Friends and citizens, it brings me great pleasure to stand here among you once again. But even in the midst of such gladness, the specter of the harm Crossbell has visited upon the Empire lingers still. The destruction of Garrelia Fortress and the ensuing civil war it caused has taken a great toll in resources and in lives. The anger, sorrow, and dismay in the hearts of the Erebonian people is still fresh, still too near. But today is a joyous day, a day to put the troubles of the past behind us. Let us join hands and step boldly into the future, leaving our anger and grief behind. Challenges will rise before us, but together we shall meet them. Together, we can rise above the tumult of these troubled times. Men and women, old and young, rich and poor, those from every walk of life can share in these aspirations. Looking toward that goal, there is someone I'd like to introduce to you today. A brilliant young man who played a pivotal role in bringing Erebonia's civil war to its swift conclusion, and the individual most responsible for the historic accomplishment that sees me standing before you today. The first Governor General of Crossbell, Lord Rufus Alberea.
Greetings, friends. It truly lifts my spirits to be here among you. I'm honored to have been entrusted with the profound responsibility of acting as Crossbell's first Governor General. As I'm sure you're all aware, the division between the nobility and the common people is a long-standing part of Erebonian life. Personally, I stand in support of our class system, but I fully expect that one day it will fade away. After all, if each citizen of the Empire conducts themselves with the courage, dignity, and grace expected of a noble, then what difference would remain between myself and any of you? As I hope for that day, allow me to speak not only as your Governor General, but as an individual when I say, in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Eugent III, I hereby proclaim the annexation of Crossbell into the Erebonian Empire.
May the goddess above stand witness, and may she forever bless Erebonia and Crossbell with the light of prosperity.
We've got some real larger-than-life characters in charge of us now. Sure, the Imperial Chancellor's intimidating, but he's so charismatic that the people eat up his every word. They love the guy. I can see why he's the bee's knees over in Heimdall.
The new Governor General's something else too, albeit for different reasons. He's... how to put this? Difficult to hate. Like, he'd tell you to do something, and the next thing you know, you'd find yourself doing it just to see him crack a smile.
Well, Albaret is the name of one of the top noble houses in the Empire. Top 2, even. No surprise that the heir of such an affluent family would be popular. But it feels like there's more to him than that.
That's what gets me, though. Those two were on completely opposite sides during the war. So why are they both so buddy-buddy now? Very oddly sudden, in my opinion.
You're telling me. By the sounds of things, Erebonians can't make heads or tails of what's going on with it either. But you know how it is. There's so many rumors springing up thanks to the war, it's hard to tell truth from fiction.
Yeah, I've even heard about a 1,000-arch tall castle appearing in the capital. I mean, that's gotta be made up, right? There's no way something like that's real.
You've got a real short memory if you think that's bull. The Azure Tree wasn't that long ago, you know.
Point taken.
Yes, this is the office of the Crossbell Times. What? Representative McDowell will be issuing a statement.
Sounds like something big's happening behind the scenes already.
I'll get to gathering some info on what's happening for our international section. Calvard's probably got some good stuff.
Works for me. Gotta use those connections of yours for something, after all.
Well, see you later.
Our independence came and went like bubbles on the water, and now we aren't even a state anymore. We're in for some tough times ahead. No, they always say that the pen is mightier than the sword. I won't let those guys outdo me. Chief, let me handle that story.
That's all we of Heiyue can do for you, I'm afraid. The guards have been given a little incentive to stay out of your way. You should face no more obstacles in your operation.
Thanks, Sal.
Think nothing of it. It's my pleasure to play all the cards I can. The place you're aiming for is where all the information in Crossbell gathers, as well as its Achilles heel. What you're doing does us no shortage of favors, I'll have you know.
Well, just this once? I'm happy to hear that.
Do take care, Yin. My apologies. Rixia. I've received information that quite a skilled warrior is in Crossbell at the moment.
As have I. Nonetheless, thank you for your warning.
Oh, not at all. I wouldn't want anything happening to a valuable future business partner. I believe that does it for me. I'll be praying for your success.
He's being awfully cooperative, isn't he? Then again, it's not a stretch to think he's only doing it because he's got something up his sleeve.
He's an incredibly shrewd man. Most likely, he's happy to do whatever will shine the most favorable light on him once Crossbell's occupation period is over.
True enough. He wouldn't want to screw up his chance to potentially play mediator between Crossbell and the Republic. I get the feeling he'd get along great with Lecter. He's our ally for now, but there's no guarantee how long that'll last.
Exactly. It's in our best interest to remain wary of him. Still, if working with him helps protect those I care about most, then I'll gladly do so.
Likewise. Tio said to aim for the area up ahead. Crossbell's future rests in our hands, so let's get moving.
Right.
So, yeah, let's talk a little bit before I do anything. All that stuff that happened in the tower, in the probably a previous episode now. Wow, right? Lots of like mind-blowing stuff. References to previous Trails in the Sky games. And then now we're in Crossbell. Okay, so what's going on? In the first time I played this, super confused. I had no idea what was going on. These characters, Lloyd and Risha, are actually from... Okay, so the Trails of Cold Steel series is actually the third series in the larger series. The first game set happened in Liberal, and it was Trails in the Sky. And if you're curious, I will be playing it on my retro channel, my older games channel, this year, because the whole trilogy, it's 3 parts to that one, because I need to play it to prepare for what's coming up for the whole series later, which I'll explain in a second. So Trails in the Sky 1, 2, and 3, you play as Bracers and Liberal. Ouroboros gets involved, a lot of stuff happens, some stuff leads towards Crossbell. There's characters from Trails of Cold Steel that are in there, but I don't want to ruin stuff, so a lot of carryover though. Then there was that series came out in America a long time ago, so that one's already been out. Then Trails of... In the middle, there was a Crossbell, 2 games. Trails, I don't know what the order, I think it's Trails from Zero and then Trails to Azure, or maybe the other way around. But there's 2 games, and they happen in Crossbell. Crossbell was a city-state, or is a city-state, in between the 3 great kingdoms. So there's Liberal, and then Erebonia, and then Calvard, right? So Crossbell's like in the middle of them. And then these are the characters from those 2 games, okay? So Lloyd Banning is a police officer in Crossbell. Rixia is mentioned a few times in the Trails of Cold Steel game because she's like a performer at a musical troupe, but she secretly also is like a ninja or something, I don't know. So that's these 2 characters. Now, after the 2 games from Crossbell, then came the Cold Steel games. The first series, In the Sky, those games came out in America, and you could get them on PlayStation and on Steam. You can still get them on Steam. And then the Crossbell games never came out. They didn't come over. And then the Trails of Cold Steel games, the first 2 came out published by XSEED, or localized by XSEED. And then there was like a long pause, many years. And then Falcom wasn't probably going to bring them over, but then NIS America, Nippon Ichi Software America, got the rights to them. And so they've made the other 2 games. So now all 4 games from Trails of Cold Steel are in America. The last one came out last year, and they're on PlayStation and Steam, and I think actually Epic now too. But anyway, so PC and PlayStation. Okay, that left the Crossbell games in the middle. So here's the kicker. First time I played the Cold Steel games 1 and 2, right, a couple years back, like 5 years ago, I didn't know anything about the Crossbell games. I didn't even know they existed. I had no idea. So this confused me very much. So that's what's going on. Is we're now in Crossbell. But here's the part. Even after I played it and I got that we're in Crossbell, here's what I didn't understand. Game 1 and 2 of Trails of Cold Steel, the games we've just played, okay, actually occur timeline-wise, concurrent, so at the same time, has the 2 games from Crossbell. Why is that important to remember? Well, all the stuff that's been happening in Crossbell that the game's been referencing, Guerrilla Fortress being attacked, the barrier putting up on Crossbell, the Phantasmal Blaze plan that's been going on in Crossbell, and then the Azure Tree. All that stuff actually happens in the 2 Crossbell games. So if you had played them in order, you'd already know all the stuff that occurred. If you didn't know that the games existed, like I didn't, and then you're sitting here going like, I don't understand what's going on with Crossbell. Like, what happened to the tree? Why did they even bring it up in the first place? Are we ever going to find out? Well, you technically already found out. So what happens here in this epilogue, right? So technically the second Trails of Cold Steel game is actually over. It ended with the scene that we had before with Rean and Crow and Duke Cayenne and Rufus, and I'm going to stop there because I don't want to spoil anything else. That stuff, I guess I'm not really spoiling because you just saw the characters. Anyway, that stuff all happened. Then there's like the ending. It's not really the end of the game, but it is kind of like the end of 1 and 2 of Trails of Cold Steel. What occurs now is the tie-in. So what's happening here, we're going to play a little bit as Crossbell characters because, as I said, the games were concurrent and now they're going to continue together. So 3 and 4, while it still takes place in Erebonia, the characters from Crossbell, now that they have been pulled into Erebonia, actually start becoming prominent. And in fact, I can tell you right now, some of the characters from the Crossbell games are major characters in 3 that I know of already, because I looked into 3 a long time ago. I streamed a couple days of it, and there were some characters and I was like, who are these people? And so I looked it up online and was like, oh, they're from the Crossbell games. And that's when I started to kind of put together everything. So I'm sorry for the long-winded explanation for that, but I felt like it's important to understand. Now, why does this happen? Well, I don't know the story for 3 and 4. I just know that these characters get pulled into it. But I also know that at the end of 4, the Erebonia storyline is wrapped up. But after the 4 parts of Trails of Cold Steel, then there's like a placement epilogue game called Trails into Reverie, which we're going to get in 2023, which is supposed to be like ties the bow on Erebonia, Crossbell, Liberal, the whole thing, to set up, like, to finish that so that you can move into the next series after that, which already has started in Japan. So that's why the Crossbell character is. Alright, lots of chit chat and stuff. There's still a little more game here, but I just gotta say one other thing. Yes, Risha is smoking hot. Like, yeah. But, you know, Rean still is, you know, committed to Laura, but I'm not Rean, and I'm sitting here going like, hello, hello, yeah. All right, I'm sorry, I'm bad. Let's play the game. Also, one other thing I think I forgot to mention. The Crossbell games, while they did not come out in America, I said we're getting that Reverie game. We're getting like everything. 2022, at the end of it, we're gonna get the first Crossbell game. And then the beginning of 2023, we get the second part, so we'll get both parts of that game finally, or that series finally. And then 2023, at the end of it, probably is when we're gonna get into Reverie. And then I'm guessing we'll start getting the stuff after that, although they haven't confirmed that yet. But if Falcom's finally letting us have the Crossbell games, then I have to believe that they're going to continue to work with Nice America. So I'm excited.